The evening light is dimming into dusk as I stand at the top of the lighthouse tower. Through the thick glass panes of the lantern room, I can see the last colors of sunset fading over the sea, deep orange and purple bands melting into the horizon, reflected in the gentle undulation of the waves far below. The air is cool up here. I feel a soft breeze coming through a small vent, carrying the salty dampness of the ocean. For a moment, I pause in the stillness, one hand resting on the iron railing, and listen. You can almost hear the world holding its breath at twilight. The only sounds are the rhythmic wash of waves against the rocks and the distant cry of a gull heading home for the night. Sometimes, it feels like time pauses in this place, caught between day and night, between the endless sea and sky. And #X20. Just as the sun disappears, I turn my attention to the great beacon that is the heart of this lighthouse. In the center of the lantern room, the lamp awaits its nightly duty. I open the glass door of the lamp housing and the scent of oil and metal greets me, a familiar comfort. With careful, unhurried motions, I check the level of the oil in the reservoir, ensuring there is enough fuel to burn through the night. The brass mechanisms gleam faintly in the residual light. I had polished them thoroughly in the morning, as I do every day, so that nothing would hinder the light's brightness. The Fresnel lens surrounding the lamp, an ingenious crown of glass prisms taller than I am, glints as I move. Earlier today, I wiped every panel of that lens until it was crystal clear, knowing how important it is that the light shines bright and clear till sunrising. I strike a match and light the lamp's wick, which quickly comes alive with a steady golden glow. For a few seconds, I watch to be sure the flame burns cleanly and evenly. A tiny hiss and flutter, then it steadies, a new little sun captured in glass. I adjust the wick height just so, remembering the old instruction that the wicks must be trimmed neatly and kept even, a rule passed down to every keeper. The flame responds, growing calm and strong. Almost immediately, the prisms of the great lens catch the light and amplify it into a powerful beam. I gently close the lamp's glass door and secure it. Above me, the clockwork mechanism begins to turn, driven by weights and gears I wound earlier in the evening. The light starts its slow rotation, casting its beam out to sea in a sweeping arc. Every few seconds, a warm flash touches the far waves and the darkening sky. I like to imagine a sailor miles away, noticing that flash, taking comfort in it as a sign of safe passage. The duty of a lighthouse keeper is foremost to keep this light burning, to keep a good light no matter the hour or weather. I carry out this duty with quiet pride. For years now, my evenings have followed this gentle ritual. Climb the tower at sunset, light the beacon, and make sure its glow never falters through the night. In these moments, tending the lamp, I feel connected to all the keepers before me, the ones who, in decades and centuries past, have performed the same task with the same care. We are sometimes called wickies, because we trim the wicks of the lamps. It's a humble nickname, almost humorous, but it reminds me how even the smallest detail, a trim of a wick, can keep a big light shining. I linger in the lantern room a minute longer, listening to the soft ticking of the clockwork and the faint crackle of the flame inside the lamp. The room is otherwise silent and bathed in a warm glow. Outside, the sky has turned a deep blue-gray, and the first stars are peeking out. The sea is dark now, but I can still make out the white lines of gentle breakers on the shore below. The beacon's light sweeps over the water, over and over, in its calm and purposeful rotation. Satisfied that all is in order, I close the iron hatch and begin my descent back down the spiral stairs of the tower. My footsteps are slow and measured, echoing softly against the whitewashed brick walls. The metal railing is cool under my hand, and every so often a tiny draft of wind finds its way through a seam in the tower, carrying with it the briny smell of the ocean night. At the base of the tower, I step out into the twilight one more time. The lighthouse keeper's cottage is only a few paces away, a sturdy little house of stone, snug against the lighthouse's flank. As I walk toward it, I glance up at the tower to see the light shining out. From here, it looks like a halo in the darkness, revolving patiently. A gentle sense of accomplishment fills me, knowing that for tonight my primary task is done. The beacon is lit and doing its silent work, watching over the waves. I take a deep breath of the night air. It's fresh and cool, carrying the scent of salt and seaweed and a faint trace of wood smoke from the cottage's chimney. The wind has picked up just a little, not a gale by any means, just a light breeze whispering of oncoming night. You can hear it as a soft sigh around the eaves and rocks. In the distance, a lone night bird calls briefly. Otherwise, the world is quiet. Stepping inside the cottage, I'm greeted by gentle warmth and the faint orange glow of a low fire in the kitchen hearth. The thick stone walls and small windows keep out the chill and noise of the outside, creating a refuge of calm inside. I close the heavy wooden door behind me with a reassuring thump and slide the bolt to secure it. The simple kitchen of my cottage is cast in flickering light, shadows of chair backs, and the edge of the table dance slowly on the plaster walls as the fire crackles. In one corner, an oil lamp is lit on a shelf, its glass chimney glowing steadily and illuminating the tidy space. I keep the lamp trimmed low so it casts just enough light to see comfortably, nothing too harsh for the evening. On the iron stovetop, a blackened kettle is gently steaming, and a cast iron pot has been simmering for some time, filling the room with the savory scent of supper. Before I went up to light the beacon, I had set a simple dinner to cook: a thick stew of barley, root vegetables, and a bit of salted fish. It's humble fare, but nourishing and flavorful, especially after a day of sea air. Many of the ingredients came from what I have on hand in the pantry: dried beans, a few potatoes and carrots from the autumn harvest, a pinch of herbs from the small kitchen garden outside. Lighthouse keepers must be self-sufficient. Fresh supplies only come now and then, so I keep a good stock of salted meat, dried peas, flour, and other staples to last through the weeks. Knowing this makes the meal all the more comforting. Each bite carries the care of planning and provisioning. I move slowly and deliberately, as there is no need to rush here. Taking a cloth, I lift the lid of the stew pot to give it a gentle stir. The aroma that escapes is rich and warming. A hint of bay leaf and thyme rises with the steam, along with the earthy smell of potatoes and the brine of fish. The stew bubbles lazily, little droplets rolling down the inside of the lid and back into the mix. Satisfied that it's heated through and ready, I ladle a portion into a bowl. The bowl is a plain, sturdy ceramic one, a bit chipped at the rim, but I've grown fond of it over the years. It holds the perfect amount for a hearty supper. I also pour hot water from the kettle into a waiting tin teapot, where a spoonful of dried chamomile flowers is waiting. The water instantly releases a sweet, apple-like fragrance from the chamomile. Tea and a warm meal, small luxuries in this quiet life. Bowl and teacup in hand, I settle into my favorite wooden chair by the hearth. It's an old rocking chair, smooth from years of use, and it creaks softly as I lean back. If you were here, you'd feel the gentle warmth radiating from the fireplace on your feet, and you'd hear the soft crackle of embers as a log shifts. The firelight paints a golden glow on the simple objects around the room: the metal kettle, the edge of a woven basket in the corner, the old clock on the mantel. I take a moment to appreciate how cozy it all feels. Outside these walls there may be darkness and an endless expanse of water, but here inside is a small world of light and warmth. I eat slowly, savoring each bite of the stew. The flavors have melded nicely. The carrots are tender and sweet, the broth thickened by barley and potatoes. Each spoonful spreads warmth through me. As I chew, I listen to the sounds around me: the gentle ticking of the clock, the occasional hiss and pop from the burning logs, the fire's quiet crackles. There's a subtle undertone of the wind outside, a muffled whoosh that rises and falls. It's comforting to know the storm shutters are latched and all is secure. Between bites, I sometimes pause and simply breathe in the moment. The taste of home-cooked food, the scent of wood smoke and herbs, the sight of the fire dancing in the grate. After finishing the bowl, I take a crust of brown bread and mop up the last of the hearty broth. The bread is dense and a few days old, but still good when dipped in the stew. Wiping my mouth with a cloth, I feel grateful for the meal. Living out here, one learns not to take things for granted. Not a full belly, not a calm night, and certainly not the simple comfort of a warm cottage. I pour myself a cup of the chamomile tea from the pot. The porcelain cup warms my hands as I wrap my fingers around it. Bringing it to my lips, I blow gently, then sip. The taste is mild and soothing, with a soft floral note that calms the palate after the rich stew. As I swallow, I feel the day's remaining tension, small as it was, slip away. For a while, I simply sit there in the quiet, rocking ever so slightly in the chair, cup in hand. The tea's steam curls upward in the dim light. I close my eyes for a moment. If you listen closely, you can hear the faint rumble of distant waves through the stone walls, like a lullaby from the ocean. There is also a distant, regular sound that I tune into. It's the pattern of the revolving lens above, causing a gentle change in the wind's sound each time the light's opening faces this way. It's almost imperceptible, but after years in this lighthouse, I notice the subtle rhythm. A soft whir or click from the tower as the machinery turns, repeating at a steady interval. To me, it's as reassuring as a heartbeat, proof that the beacon is doing its job out there in the dark. The chores of the evening aren't quite finished yet, however. After a peaceful few minutes by the fire, I rouse myself to tend to a bit of housekeeping. Life as a keeper means there are always small tasks to keep things in order. I carry my empty bowl and cup to the basin to clean them. The water in the kettle is still fairly hot, so I pour a little into the basin and mix in a touch of cooler water from a pitcher. With a scrap of cloth and a dab of soap, I wash the bowl, spoon, and cup, my motion slow and methodical. The sound of water sloshing gently and the clink of ceramic on metal are the loudest things in the cottage at that moment. I dry everything with a linen towel and set the dishes back on the shelf where they belong, ready for tomorrow. Next, I turn to a small bundle of laundry that I folded earlier in the day. A couple of neatly folded shirts and a pair of trousers sit on the table, along with some woolen socks. I pick them up and put them away in the wooden chest of drawers against the wall. The drawers glide with a soft scrape of wood. One of the socks I notice has a thin spot at the heel. Not yet a hole, but it will be one soon if I ignore it. I fetch my mending basket, which sits by the hearth, containing a needle, some thread, a bit of darning yarn, and a smooth ceramic darning egg. Bringing it to the table, I sit under the lamp's glow and carefully thread the needle. The lamplight is steady and golden here, ideal for this quiet task. Taking the sock, I slip the darning egg inside the heel to support the fabric. I choose a gray woolen thread that nearly matches. Each stitch I make is small and deliberate, weaving back and forth across the weak spot. It's a simple chore, mending a sock, but there's something soothing about it. My mother taught me this skill when I was young, and every time I mend a sock or patch a tear in my work pants, I feel a connection to those practical lessons of my childhood. In the silence, I find myself humming softly, just a fragment of an old lullaby or perhaps a sea shanty, slowed to a gentle murmur. The tune echoes faintly off the walls in this little room, blending with the crackle of the fire. Once the sock is reinforced and will keep my toes warm a while longer, I tie off the thread and snip the excess. I return the sewing items to their basket. Then I stand and stretch a bit, feeling the mild ache in my back and shoulders. It's a reminder that even on a quiet day, one keeps busy with countless little movements, climbing stairs, fetching firewood, bending to tend the fire, carrying supplies. In fact, earlier today I hauled a fresh 5-gallon can of oil up those lighthouse stairs to refill the lamp's reservoir. That was probably the most strenuous task of the day, and I can still faintly feel the memory of that weight in my arms. But I don't mind it. The physical work, the constant care, all of it is part of keeping the light. And in exchange, I get to live in this remarkable peace. Before sitting down again, I take a moment to check that everything in the cottage is as it should be for the night. I place a couple more small pieces of driftwood onto the fire to keep it going a while longer. The flames lick at the new wood, and then flare up softly, casting lively shadows that soon settle back into a steady glow. I close the metal flue halfway to ensure the fire burns slowly and safely. I go to the door and give it a gentle tug to double-check that it's latched against any stray gusts. On a peg by the door hangs my heavy coat, a thick woolen greatcoat I wear outside on cold nights. I brush my hand over it, but I won't be needing it tonight. The weather is calm, and I won't be venturing out again until morning, unless duty calls. I peek out a small window by the door. The glass is a little wavy, old, handmade, which blurs the view, but I can still see the periodic sweep of the lighthouse beam cutting through the darkness. It illuminates the mist above the waves in a ghostly silver every time it passes. The night outside is moonless at the moment, or else the moon is hiding behind low clouds. Above, the stars are scattered across the sky in cold brilliance. I crack the window open just an inch and inhale. The air that slips in is chilly and carries the unmistakable breath of the sea at night, a mix of salt, damp rock, and that indescribable open water freshness. If you were here, you'd smell the salt and distant rain in the air, and feel a cool hint of the ocean on your face, even from this little window. After a minute of gazing into the starry darkness, I close the window firmly and latch it. It's time to write the day's entry in the logbook. Crossing the room, I retrieve the official log, a large leather-bound book, from a shelf. Its pages hold the history of each day's weather and events, however ordinary, all written in careful script. By requirement and tradition, every lighthouse keeper keeps a journal of all occurrences and observations, creating a record of the station's life. I place the logbook on the small writing desk near the window. The desk is simple, just a wooden surface with a single drawer holding ink and quill pens. I trim the flame of the oil lamp up just a little so I can see clearly, and I take out my pen and inkwell. Standing at the desk, the chair is across by the hearth and I don't bother to move it. I dip the pen and begin to write in a slow, flowing hand. October 17th, 1872. Thursday. Weather mild and clear. Wind light, NNW. Sea calm with low swells. Lit the lamp at 6:18 p.m., just at sunset. Lamp burning clear and steady through first watch. No ships sighted in vicinity at evening. Horizon empty, save one schooner far west before dusk. Performed routine maintenance in morning, cleaned lens and lantern glass, polished brass fittings. Evening quiet. Prepared stew for supper. All duties normal. End of entry. I pause and blow gently on the ink to dry it. The words on the page are straightforward. Plain, there's no need for flourish in the official log. Just the facts. Weather, maintenance, any notable incidents. Still, within those simple lines, I sometimes sense the poetry of this life peeking through. Phrases like sea calm or horizon empty carry a quiet weight that I feel in my soul. Before closing the log, I add one more line in a smaller, cursive script, a personal habit, a peaceful evening. It's not strictly necessary, but I like to capture the mood for myself. I put away the pen and close the heavy logbook with a soft thump. That duty is done. I return the book to its shelf, where it joins the older volumes from years past, each one filled with notes of winds and tides, storms and calm nights, written by my hand and by the hands of keepers before me. Running my fingers along the spines of these logs, I feel part of an unbroken chain of years. It's a comforting thought. Now the hour grows late. My body, accustomed to the cycle of keeping watch, knows that it's time to rest, at least for a while. I pour the last of the now lukewarm chamomile tea into my cup and drink it down, not wanting to waste a drop. The fire in the hearth has burned low, leaving just a bed of glowing embers that cast a faint orange shimmer on the hearthstone. The room is cozy and dim. I decide not to add any more fuel. I will let the fire slumber and die out safely behind the grate. In these sturdy walls, a small bedroom awaits me in the adjoining corner, just a tiny space with a single cot, a wool blanket, and a pillow. Before retiring, I take the oil lamp from its shelf. This metal handle is warm to the touch. Gently, I walk through the cottage with it, as I do every night, making one last round. The flame illuminates the narrow hallway leading toward my sleeping nook. The shadows sway and stretch as I move, as if the house itself is exhaling slowly. I peek into the pantry. Everything is in order, shelves neat, door closed to keep out any curious mice. I visit the front door once more and rest my hand on it, solid and shut. A quick glance through its small window pane shows darkness and a few stars. All is well. Finally, I step into my little bedroom. The bed is simple. A sturdy frame, a mattress stuffed with straw and covered in linen sheets, and atop them a thick, well-worn wool blanket to ward off the chill. I set the oil lamp on a tiny bedside table. Its gentle light reveals a small photograph I keep there, an old family portrait in a wooden frame. In it, my family stands together in front of a faraway home, faces young and hopeful, captured in faded tones of sepia. I smile at them softly and whisper, "Good night," in my thoughts, sending a loving wish across the miles of dark sea to wherever they may be. I sit on the edge of the bed and pull off my boots, one at a time. They come off with a slight tug, releasing the scent of leather and a day's wear. I place them neatly on a mat by the wall, ready for tomorrow. I remove my thick wool socks as well, flexing my toes appreciatively. These are the very socks I darned earlier. They'll serve me again come morning. I change out of my work clothes, peeling off the sturdy knit sweater and the worn canvas trousers, and hang them on a peg. The night air in the bedroom is cool against my skin, but not uncomfortably so. It's the kind of crispness that makes the thought of being under a warm blanket even more appealing. Clad in my cotton undershirt, I gently ease myself under the blanket. The sheets feel cool at first touch, but I know they'll soon grow warm. I lean over and turn down the wick of the oil lamp until the flame is just a tiny flicker. The room falls into a very soft darkness, with only a faint glow from the embers in the other room seeping through the doorway. For a moment, I lie there on my back, hands resting on my chest, and gaze at the ceiling beams I know are above me. In my mind's eye, I can picture each sturdy beam and the gentle slope of the roof overhead, protecting me like a guardian. I reach out and finally pinch the lamp's wick to snuff it out. The flame surrenders with a delicate flicker, and a wisp of smoke curls upward, bringing the scent of warm oil and burnt wick. Now the room is truly dark. In the stillness, my senses tune to the subtle night music, the faint wash of the sea against the rocks outside, the soft sigh of the breeze around the tower, and somewhere above, the muffled tick-tick of the lantern's clockwork as it turns the light. The lighthouse's beam doesn't shine directly into this room, but I can sense its presence. Every few seconds a hint of light catches the corner of a window or illuminates a speck of dust in the air, a gentle pulse in the darkness. I settle my head into the pillow, which is filled with down and has just the right amount of give. I pull the blanket up to my chin, cocooning myself in warmth. My body sinks into the mattress, grateful for rest. I take a long, slow breath, inhaling the subtle perfumes of the night. A touch of soot from the lamp, lingering chamomile, a trace of salt air. As I exhale, I let go of any remaining thoughts and let my mind drift. I think about the light I lit this evening, now shining brightly out there, a steadfast guardian through the night. I think about how quiet and gentle this day has been, and how fortunate I am to witness these peaceful moments. My eyelids grow heavy. The line between waking and sleep begins to blur. In these final moments of awareness, I feel a deep sense of peace. The ocean's lullaby continues just beneath hearing, and the old lighthouse stands watch, as it has for so long. Sometimes, I truly feel that time pauses in this place, that in the still darkness, with the beacons softly turning and the waves endlessly arriving on shore, we are living in a world apart from all others, a world where night and ocean and light have their own slow, eternal conversation. My breathing slows and deepens. I know that in a few hours I'll rouse myself to check the light and trim the wick if needed. A keeper's watch is never completely broken until dawn. But for now, I allow myself to drift. Sleep comes gently, like a fog rolling in, soft and inevitable. I feel as if I am floating on a calm sea, rocked by the quiet rhythm of the waves. The last thing I remember as I slip into dreams is the feeling of profound calm and the distant, comforting presence of the lighthouse beam sweeping the night. The keeper sleeps, the light shines, and the vast sea carries on its whispering him all is well, and the quiet night enfolds the little cottage in its embrace.